Allegiance. Stands. Greet your neighbors. Mr. President. How you doing? I'm going to try to eliminate the hair. No, what I like to do now, COVID when we couldn't check in. Fist bumps. Yeah. Today, the board and Neil offer today's reflection.
An invocation adapted from one written by Sean Bird. February is a time for warm hearts, to welcome peace and set apart a portion of our love and grace, thankful for this special place, thankful for those gathered here, thankful for Rotary work far and near. And to our wonderful cooks who prepare such lovely meals, we thank you. May the food we've shared sustain us through our day. Be with us all week and throughout this month as we remember the Rotary four-way test in all we do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Amen.
Thank you, Laura. Welcome, Rotarians. Welcome, guests. Today's member highlight. Maybe. There we go. This Rotarian is a retired real estate broker. I think we have the wrong one. Again. We did him last week. Phil Mariola. Next week will be a big surprise. Okay, yeah, this is good. Okay, community flag program. We are ramping up the flag maintenance to get ready for the season. This week you will be receiving an email and sign up for the maintenance. Let's drop down to the Rotary Wine and Bourbon Tasting Event, which is coming up March 6th. Joy will be coming up and telling you more about that today. And trying to remember if there was anything on that other slide, and I don't believe so. So I will turn it over to Lynn for the Secretary's report.
Thank you, President Tom. Laura Neal has a traveling microphone, and we'll start off with President-elect Alan Kiefer.
My guest today is a longtime friend of mine and a longtime supporter of soccer and Wooster Rotary.
Jim Monet.
My guest today is Joe Bodnar. He is the City of Wooster Chief Building.
And I think we've got updates from Hannah and Esau.
Thinking about it, maybe we start on Monday, but no. Good morning, everyone. On Saturday, I went to Camp Newhop with my host dad, Trevor Dunlop. He owns the place, and then he showed me that swinging thing. It's like the death place. It's like, yeah, I'll remember. Then he showed me the ziplining thing, one of the death force, never gonna try that. But I love seeing people like getting hyped up to run the vertical mile thing. I just thought about if they said go and just spit and dive at the starting point. I wouldn't run as much. I look like I can run, but I can't. These short legs can't. Sunday, I went with their Mimi in Ashland to have like breakfast because she was by herself. And she's really nice. She's Trevor's mother. Yeah, I think that's all I did. And I am in track. Yeah, shocking. Thank you.
Secretary, question for you, who here likes hockey? Well, on Friday, I went to see Wooster's game, it was my first hockey game. I find amazing how people can just get out of the clubs and start punching. I really love it. Well, Saturday, I watched my Nickelodeon final game for my team, we won. And Sunday, I basically slept till noon when I woke up, and then I went to like feet, because I was really tired. Thank you.
We have two announcements from the podium, Joy Schmitz and Chris Pycraft, and while they're coming forward, just a reminder about the Great Decision Series starts this Thursday, February 6th. There's one February 20th and then two in March. We have a couple of these large posters. If you'd like one of these for your place of business, please stop up at the front after the meeting. Thank you.
Greetings, Rotarians. It is officially February, and that means it's time for our club's Every Rotarian Every Year fundraiser. Many of you contribute to this every year without fail, but for those of you who are new, this is the one time a year that the club asks you to make a contribution to Rotary International. These funds are invested by Rotary International, used for their programs, and then they filter back down to local levels through our district club. And over the past years, we've received a number of these dollars back to run our own local programs. But more importantly, this is an opportunity to fund Rotary International and all the good things it does all over the world. Please keep an eye on your email for the pledge form. The requested contribution size from every Rotarian is $100. Those of you inclined to give more are welcome to do so. Those of you who think $100 is not the right number for you, we are judged as a club in our district by our percentage of participating Rotarians who make a contribution. So any contribution is appreciated and does help our club in its standing with the district for this program. So please consider contributing again this year, and you'll hear more about this in your email and probably every week for the rest of the month. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Joy.
Hi, everyone. On behalf of Phil Mariola, Olivia and Brian Boyer, and our club leadership, I'd like to officially invite all of you to the 2025 Wooster Rotary Wine, Bourbon, and now Tequila tasting event. So this is our third year, and this event has become a social staple for our club, but also an important fundraiser. It's a fun way to come together and celebrate our membership, but also bring in the community. While we're sipping, savoring, and socializing, we're also raising funds. So all of the profits from this event are going to go to the Wooster Rotary Foundation. Please make plans to join us on Thursday, March 6th. You've seen that event up here a lot, or that date up here a lot. It's 5:30 to 8 p.m. at Greystone Event Center. You'll be treated to a tasting of 5 different wines from around the world, plus 3 unique bourbons and 3 tequilas. There'll be a big buffet of heavy hors d'oeuvres, and then a special guest I'll tell you about in a moment. We hope all Rotarians can join us and bring guests. Tickets are on sale now. You're going to be receiving an email today with a link that you can purchase tickets from online. You'll also notice there are some forms on your table. If you prefer to use the paper form, just fill that out and give it back to me, and I'll put in your ticket order. So we're very excited about a new feature of the event this year. The co-owner of Kate Arnold Wines, Jean Arnold, will be on site to present wines from their family's portfolio. Kate Arnold Wines is a nationally known winemaker, and Kate grew up right here in Worcester. She was raised to appreciate the outdoors because she is the daughter of Jim and Sue Howard, who ran Cleveland Road Animal Hospital before Rotarian Chad Bailey and his wife took over. So she uses those influences of appreciation for nature and animals and agriculture in her winemaking, which is something I'm sure Jean will share with us when he pours us some of their wines at the event. So it's going to be a great night. Don't miss it. Like I said, tickets are on sale now. Individual tickets are $40 a piece. You can get as many as you like, and everyone needs a ticket, Rotarians and guests alike. You can do a pair of tickets for $60, and you can mix and match those with individual tickets if you like. And then if you're coming as a group, we are selling tables that will be seat 8 people. So if you want to come as a group, sit with your group and socialize that way, $350 for a table. Great, thank you. Cheers.
Thank you, Joy. Again, welcome guests, welcome Rotarians. Hopefully you will enjoy today's program and fellowship, and please know that you're always welcome at any future meetings and the wine and bourbon tasting event as well. So with that, I will turn it over to Greg Long to introduce our speakers today.
Good afternoon. It is truly a pleasure for me to introduce to you Scott Boyes, President and CEO of Worcester Community Hospital. Before his promotion in June of 2024, Scott served as CFO, later adding COO to his title. Prior to joining the hospital, Scott spent nearly 9 years as Director of Finance at Akron General Medical Center and 3 years with Ernst & Young. Scott holds a Bachelor of Science in Accounting and an MBA from the University of Akron and is a CPA. He has also completed the Ohio State University Lean Manager Administrative Certification Program and the QHR Leadership Academy. Deeply committed to his community, he has served on and chaired numerous boards, including Hospice and Palliative Care of Greater Wayne County, now Life Care Hospice, Green Local Board of Education, the Viola Starchman Clinic, and the Wayne Economic Development Council. Scott has been married to Susan Boyce for 39 years, and they have 3 adult children and 2 grandchildren, one of which is my grandson Henry's favorite person. Fellow Rotarian Scott Boyce.
Yeah, I don't know if Greg's Henry has picked out the engagement ring yet, but it feels like it's coming. It's such a privilege to be here today and a chance to get to share about the hospital. And one of my goals, and I should apologize to the city folks, several of which have to hear me speak again tonight. So two times as Scott Boyce is probably one too many. But it certainly is a privilege to be here. And one of my goals for sharing with you today is, I guess, to remind us that it's not my hospital, it's really your hospital. And the history of our hospital is so rich. And, you know, I have a slide talking about, you know, one of our celebrations coming up, but that the folks back in the 1940s, the visionaries that came together to form this hospital, thinking ahead for our community, the importance of having a vibrant healthcare system locally, that it would be good for our town, because we got such a great town and great leaders in this room. And it's really an honor to be here today. So having a locally governed and community-owned hospital is something special that I think we want to make sure we continue to nurture. So I'm hoping I'm able to work the slides here. We'll see if this, there it goes. So And I spent a moment trying to get the celebration here for Bill. So Bill was with the hospital for 30 years, and Bill, I always say Bill's ornery. Bill didn't like any public accolades or whatnot. So the fake confetti was about all I could come up. And I'd be remiss if I didn't take a moment to recognize Bill and his 30 years of service. Bill was outstanding to work for. I always say Bill's was like an older brother. Meaning some days I hated him, and some days I would do something, I'll go ahead and he'd hit me upside the head. But at the end of the day, I really appreciated working with Bill and all he meant to the hospital. I would say, but it's so true of his investment in the hospital, but the hospital takes a lot of great leaders over the years. And I think of one great leader who was a Rotarian who just passed away, Al Rod. I know when I first got to the hospital, back in the late 1990s, Bill would talk about Al Rod and how he was the president of Worcester Brush and how he was on the board, and Al Rod said this and whatever. So it takes more than just one person or even a small group of people. It takes an entire team to run a hospital, and takes great board members like Mr. Long's on our board. Well, we also have a few boards that you might not think about. So in 1994, the hospital formed Worcester Community Hospital Foundation to allow us to recruit doctors to the community, which is, a key thing that the hospital does. And Don Noble's on our foundation board, which we appreciate. And then in 2008, when we were having trouble recruiting doctors to the community, we realized that we had to go into the employing physician realm. So it's not something, if you're a hospital guy, I'm a hospital guy, that you actually say, oh, let's employ doctors, let's get between them and their money. It's not what you want to do. It's not your favorite spot to be. But in 2008, we formed Bloomington Medical Services, and we called it Bloomington because the hospital, actually where it's located, it was in the village of Bloomington back in the day when you look down into the valley of the city of Worcester. So we wanted to pay tribute to the heritage of that. And Lynn is on our Bloomington board. So it takes so many great leaders to help us with the hospital and all the good things that are done there. So our place in the economy, we have so many great companies in this community, and we're certainly proud to be part of them. And, the hospital has tried to be committed to economic development, whether it's with the Worcester Chamber, with Wayne Economic Development Council, and we're certainly proud to be part of that. So this is a graph that I share in the Citizens Academy that kind of talks about the major employers here. So the largest employer in our community, and we're grateful for it, is Scheffler. So, they're the largest, but the city of Worcester with the hospital is actually the second largest employer. And the pie graph on the right, to your right, shows the breakdown of the city, and the hospital is the largest piece of the city. And it actually ends up being the second largest employer in the city of Worcester. So I don't say that like, oh, look how important we are. I just say that in rural communities, healthcare is big business for us, unfortunately, because we all need healthcare until we fix it with AI or whatever's going to come down the road, hopefully, that will help us with healthcare. But it certainly is an important employer of our community. And I want us to appreciate, that it's something that's very important that we maintain local control of this. Kind of an interesting fact that 80 to 90% of all hospital care is done at a facility like Worcester Community Hospital. And I always go back to a story back when I was a young kid. And you're old when your number of years you've been married is middle-aged. So back when I was working at Akron General Medical Center, and I got to do the budgets there. Jason gets to do the budgets at the hospital now. But I was meeting with the department chair of the residency program. And I was having one of those, and it might be one of those shocking things, but I was having one of those superiority complex moments as a young man, you know what I mean, where you think you're smarter than you are. I have those occasionally now, but I was having one of those moments with the chair of the residency program, and he was a physician, and I remember thinking, well, I wouldn't want to have any healthcare done at like a podunk hospital like down at Worcester or somewhere like that, because we were at this big tertiary facility, and we thought we were so important. And he really figuratively slapped me upside the head and he said, you know what? That's exactly where you'd want to have your health care. I said, well, what do you mean? Help me understand. He goes, if you have some exotic disease, you want the youngest, brightest minds who are researching and doing everything they can to find out what's wrong with you. You absolutely want to be here at Akron General. But also for the bread and butter healthcare, which is most of healthcare, hernias and gallbladders and tonsillectomies and pneumonia and all that. Do you want a doctor who has done that for years in his communities? Because when you come here, you're getting treated by the kids being trained. You're not getting treated really by the doctors who have been in practice for a long time. And it really changed my mindset. And this is before I came to Wooster. I'm so blessed to be at Wooster, but it really did change my mindset of where healthcare is and the importance of what we do at Wooster. This is a graph that probably the visualization isn't as effective as what I wanted, but one thing that we're experiencing, and I don't know if you're experiencing as an employer, it takes more bodies of people to generate the same amount of work hours than what it used to. So in the post-pandemic era, we've had a lot of folks who have reacted strongly to getting through the COVID area, and some folks who are full-time no longer want to be full-time, they want to work part-time, and some folks who are part-time no longer want to work part-time, they want to work PRN or as needed. So it's taken us needing to hire a lot more people to generate the same 842 FTEs that we need to staff the hospital 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So like your business, healthcare is tough business. So I just grabbed some articles recent. So, we went and we're living through the Baxter IV solution with Hurricane Helene and has knocked out that plant. But their healthcare, there's, hospitals struggling all over the place. Layoffs projected in Pennsylvania hospitals, regional health systems, which we need, are struggling, and you can just see it over and over. So there's struggles everywhere. So we're not immune to some of the economic challenges as we're getting older as a society, but we finished 2024 in the black, which is good. And so we're still fighting through. So the positive about our hospital is we have no debt. And I also want to mention that we don't get any tax revenue either, but having no debt is something that's very important to us because it controls what we do. We don't have 2 million of interest expense each year like we would if we had 40 million debt like other places do. So 2024 highlights, and some of these I just don't want us to take for granted, but the hospital was selected as a top 100 hospital again, and this is one of the longest standing public data national awards that are out there. It's something that we should be proud of for the hospital. And it's not like I'm delivering the care, because I'm not, you won't want me near, but we have such a great medical community at our hospital who provides great care to those of us in Greater Wayne County. And it's something that we should be proud of. I have another slide on it. We're a 5-star CMS hospital. We were able to break ground on our PACE project in April, and PACE, we did take phonics when we were in elementary school, and I know that's not what that sounds like, but it's a patient access and emergency center, but saying PAC didn't seem to have the same ring. So we call it the PACE project. So our new patient access and emergency center. So this year, in addition to Bill and I transitioning in our roles in June and Jason coming on board, and this is Jason Moore, our new CFO, we did have several other leadership changes, including a change in chief of staff mid-year. So we had a lot of leadership changes this year, and leadership changes are good, can be good, and provide opportunities. So, we're excited about everybody on the team. This year, we also moved our wound center. So we call the back block building behind the hospital the annex building. But I still call it like the Jerry's Waterbed building if you've lived here a long time. So Dr. Yvonne Williams, who is on our facility committee, and almost occasionally she likes to mother me, which I need mothered. And she has been encouraging me to move the wound center out of that Jerry's Waterbed building for at least 15 years. And we always thought we had somewhere we needed to go or something else we need to do. So this year, we finally were able to honor Dr. Williams' request and get the wound center into a facility that it deserves. So we moved it over to the Bell Professional Center, which is the building's name from the Western Reserve Insurance Company that the hospital was able to buy. So we're really pleased with that. And I was without executive assistant support for the presentation. So the picture of the wound center came in late. And this data clip won't let me add it. So it was beyond my skill set, or else I'd have a picture for you. We're also excited in 2024 that we got started on our second MRI. So we're going to have a brand new MRI to complement our existing MRI opening in April of 2025. So right now, unfortunately, we're like 5-6 weeks out in scheduling for some of our MRIs, and it's a problem. So adding that capacity is something that we need, and we're excited about that. I have a slide on some of the physician recruitment, but physician recruitment, as I mentioned, with the forming of the foundation of Bloomington is really critical for our success ongoing. We want to keep bringing great doctors to the community, and we have to keep thinking of succession planning as, you know, all of us are getting older, and, you know, what's the future look like in 5 to 10 years of who we need to recruit. We also have had a couple advancements of care that I just wanted to mention to you when I get there. So I have a slide on that. Back to the top 100, and this is me wanting you to be an advocate for your hospital, is just to give you data. So there's like 2,600 plus hospitals are in the category that is measured by this top 100. They don't measure critical access hospitals like Altman Orville. They're not in this ranking. They're not psychiatric hospitals, but acute care sick hospitals is what's ranked here. And you can see of the Ohio hospital, of all those 2,600 hospitals, they only pick 100. And they pick essentially 15 major teaching and then 20 of the other categories. So in our category, there are 719 hospitals in the medium community hospital category across the country. They pick 20 of them. So the best 20, that's that component of that. So that's something for us to really be proud of, that the medical care being delivered here is that good, that we have done this 10 times and we've done it 7 years in a row. So this isn't a guarantee. I know Greg's like, thinks we have to win, and I want to win, and we strive to win. But this is really, there are 699 hospitals who really would like on the list in our category that didn't make the list. So it is something special. 5-star hospitals. So I don't go to a restaurant without looking at the Google reviews, and, you know, if only 2 people rated them a 5, I don't care. I'm not going there because people don't care about them enough to rate. And if, you know, someone gives them a 4.4, but they have 2,000 reviews to review. Well, CMS realized that the star rating was something we as society can wrap our arms around. So they come up with a star system. So they have a 5-star system, 5 being the best. In the country, there are only 381 5-star hospitals, 381. In Ohio, of the 381, there is 20. And our hospital is one of the 20. So we've been consistently one of the 20. And I just went ahead and disconnected. There's pet crews in the audience.
Go to the next slide.
Yes, please. All right. Thank you. I'll use that one. Let my little pointer stay by the side. So I wanted on this slide to just show you who are in our region, what are the stars of the hospitals or the health systems around. So, you know, Worcester's been consistently at a 5-star hospital. So it is something for us to be proud of as a community. Bringing specialist to community is something that we all need as residents here. We want to have the highest level of care. So in 2024, Starting your left to right, Dr. Rob Siska is a plastic reconstructive surgeon. And he did a microsurgical fellowship that allows him to do hand surgery and really microscopic kind of surgery. So he's done some really great work, some great wound surgeries already, reconnecting tissue. So we're really lucky that he was able to come to the community and join Dr. Teresa Gazul in the Bloomington Plastic and Reconstructive Practice. Dr. Steve Wanick is the next gentleman to the right of Dr. Siska. Dr. Wanick joins us. He worked at Cleveland Clinic Medina for a number of years. And there's really kind of two ways to view healthcare. There's more of a generalist approach or a specialist approach. Neither one are bad. It's just which way you kind of go at it. Now, Worcester, we need doctors who can practice a general practice, who do a lot of different things within the breadth of what their medical education has afforded them. Cleveland Clinic or UH is more of a specialist-driven model where you do one thing and you do a lot of the one thing. Well, Dr. Wanick is a general surgeon who appreciates wanting to have a full breadth of his general surgery practice. So he sought us out. So with Dr. Bob Siebel retiring, we were certainly wanting to replace that member of the surgical team. We were very fortunate Dr. Steve Wanick joined the team in mid-year of 2024, and he's an outstanding surgeon. He also happens to be a really nice guy. Another member on the team just to the right of Dr. Wanick is Dr. Mike Hughes. Now, Dr. Mike Hughes is not a rookie. All right, so he's a great guy. He actually was the first in the region interventional cardiologist at Akron, up in Akron. So back in the day, and I know as a doctor and work-life balance, call matters and all that, but Dr. Michael Hughes, he was on call 365 days a year for interventional cardiology when he was in Akron. So he was one of the pioneers who would open up the vessels of the heart. Now, we do this in Worcester now, which is just remarkable. Dr. Hughes isn't doing it, but Dr. Hughes respects Dr. Cyril Forey so much that he wanted to finish his career coming down to Worcester to help Dr. Cyril Forey in his cardiology practice. So we're very fortunate to have him. And then the next one is Dr. Berry. I have a special slide on him. And then Dr. Di Lorenzo is one of our hospitalists, one of the doctors that takes care of just inpatients. So this slide, and it might be hard to see from the audience, but the thing to the left, which kind of could look like cranberry salad. I don't know. I don't want to ruin Thanksgiving. And I'm very clinical, so if I get beyond, you just hit me. No, I'm not. Dr. Eric Turney joined our team a few years ago, and he's a vascular surgeon. So we were able to perform at the hospital the first pulmonary embolism thrombectomy this past year with really a tag team with Dr. Cyril Forey and Dr. Eric Turney. So this person was struggling breathing and didn't realize what was wrong, but Dr. Turney was able to diagnose it and then remove the clot out of this person's lung. So it's quite remarkable what can be done in Worcester Community Hospital and done well and done safely. Another thing we're really proud about is our telestroke program at the hospital. So we are in the Ohio State Network, and we participate with their telestroke program. So 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, there's a neurologist able to be in contact with anybody in need in their network. So they have 31 hospital sites in their network. And we've won more than any of their other sites, the door to needle time. So you walk in the door of the ER, and the time to put the clot blocking or clot busting medicine into your vein is the door to needle time. We've won that 10 quarters in that network. So there's a lot of hospitals that want to win that. And most recently, Dr. Gallo, who's the gentleman in the back behind Dr. Baroni, did it with a door to needle time. So you have to diagnose, understand what's going on, because you just don't want to administer clot blood busting medicine to anybody. was able to do that in 21 minutes. Our record at the hospital was 17 minutes, which is quite impressive. And the door to balloon time is for the interventional cardiology. Go into the ER door and get your vessel opened up. The fastest we've ever done, and I didn't think this was true, but is 8 minutes to diagnose and get the vessel open. It's just really quite remarkable what the medical team can accomplish at the hospital. Dr. Berry, who is a spine surgeon, he is triple fellowship spine trained. So we're very fortunate to have him on our medical team. And he's one of those physicians, and I don't have this happen all the time, but you kind of get a sense of how well a doctor is doing based on how the staff talk to you about the doctor. Okay, so Dr. Berry's the one that I have staff running down the hallway to tell me how good he was with their mom, with their aunt, with their whatever. So he also wants to keep promoting advancement of care. So he's the first in our region to get trained on this endoscopic spine surgery where the incision's like that big, really quite impressive. So for us to be able to do that in Worcester, Ohio, it blows me away at the capabilities that doctors who want to keep pushing us and do it safely within the confines of our medical staff governance is really something that we all should be proud of. In March, and I sort of hinted at this, the hospital celebrates its 75th anniversary. And, you know, when you go back and look at all the articles, it's quite impressive to me that the visionary leaders that were in our community that saw what this was and what it could be and the importance of it. Our community focus on our next issue is going to be focused on our 75th anniversary. So I hope you get to read that. So our patient access and emergency center, and I don't have like 50 more slides, so I'm on track here. So the patient access, and really the patient access piece of this was Bill's vision. So, and Bill is right. And we don't do this perfectly, and we need to get better, but accessing care is one of the most important thing we do. How can you get ready access to care? So I mentioned the MRI being out 5-6 weeks, and that's not quick access. So we need to do better there. We're doing something to be better there. But we wanted to create a mindset with building a new ER that we were going to improve access for our community. So that's been our goal. And 100% of our process improvement initiatives in 2025 are geared to improving, getting ready for this building to open in April of 2026. So that we're ready. So a lot of folks, excuse me, like to know, well, how big is this ER? Well, we have a 20 room ER now. We're going to have a 29 room ER later. Now our ER visits have actually went down the last few years. And being the finance guy for decades, you know, I'm like, hey, we shouldn't be building more rooms. We should be anticipating less. But what they've what all the national consultants, and they're right, encouraged me is that I'm like the baby of the baby boomers. So as my class comes roaring through our healthcare system, we're going to need more and more services versus less. So fortunately or unfortunately, in the next 20 years, the use of hospital care is going to go up. So we need to build this new ER with the thinking of down the road of the next 25 years. What do we need? And this building will be in long after me. We'll be serving our community. So that's what we're trying to do. So this building is 44,000 square feet. It's going to cost us roughly $33 million with equipment once it's all done. And some of the things that we have in the building, it's going to improve the connection from the ER to the patient tower. So right now we have to go down a lot of public corridors. So we won't have to do that. We also will be able to go right from the ER into the OR with an elevator ride. We'll be able to go right into the cath lab, and it'll be much quicker and more efficient. We're also going to be able to better handle our behavioral health patients. And unfortunately, behavioral health is a growing challenge for our society. So we're going to have dedicated space for that, segregated space for that, safe space for that. So we'll have, the phraseology is ligature-free rooms so that people can't harm themselves in the room. Right now, we have to pay RNs, mostly RNs, to watch people, sit with them one-on-one and do nothing else when someone presents with suicidal ideation. So that's really important to us. We also want to be able to do a better job with pediatric kids and try to keep kids. Our ER staff, our ER doctors are very well trained in pediatrics. We also have 24/7 pediatric hospitalists employed by Akron Children's that's on campus. So we want to have pediatric observation beds so that your child can stay local and not have to be shipped up. Akron Children's great if they have to go, but we'd like to eliminate that ride. So I have just a few pictures of this, and logistically, that proposed additions on the south side of the hospital. So if you can see Winter Street down below, and on the left-hand side is Bell Avenue. And you can see that where the new helipad is located on the right side of that graphic. This is a little bit more detailed depiction of what's going to go into the building. I know it's hard to see from where you're at, but the key takeaway from this slide for you is that we're trying to build with the future in mind. So ideally, we want to have imaging services down on the ground floor so it's more easily accessible to our customers. So we're building future shelf space to move our imaging department so it's right off the entryway. And then you can see the behavioral health space down there at the bottom. And then just a few drawings from a few pictures from the site. So when they had just poured the footers, this is a picture with the top of the schedule facing south. So you can see, now that's a truck in there. So the very small thing, so you kind of lose track of the size. But here's a picture of, they put the first piece of the roof on. The steel structure over there that's unfinished is the 2 elevator shafts that are being built, so as to be able to go from the ER up and over a connecting corridor. And then another drone shot. So the on the top of the roof, the one structure, if this works, it doesn't seem to show up on the screen. We have the HVAC is going to be on top of the roof, and it's going to have a screen wall around that. We built this to only be 1 level. So we did not build it to build a 2nd level later. That was very conscious. We don't want to have a ton of towers in Wooster, Ohio. We'd rather have the care be accessible on the ground floor. And then just another visual, you can see the whole hospital district, if you are familiar with the city of Worcester's planning and how the new building fits in with the East Patient Tower. And then some of the temporary connecting structures. And then they've already made quite headway. So I'm told they're going to be ready to install cabinetry by July or August. So the project is going well. It's on schedule so far and on budget. So 2 positive things when you're talking a project of this magnitude. And then one of our marketing pitches, and fortunately you have a Rotarian member named Angela Rincon who gets paid to help us raise money for this project. So healthcare, like I had mentioned, is tough business. We could certainly use our community support of this project. The board is allowing us to reinvest in the community. If we were just running this as a for-profit venture, we'd make our existing 20 rooms work and it's good enough. And why would we throw that kind of money into it? But we're not a bank. We want to take care of our community. So we are reinvesting into our hospital, and we could use your support of that. So if you want any information on that, I know Angela has options that can be made over a 5-year period of time in order to participate in the project. We'd love to have you. So that was my plug. We could use your help. And that's all I had for today. So I think there's an opportunity for questions. If you have any questions. No, most of you are awake, so that's a positive. And I forgot to I'll give a plug. Phil Mariola, who was mentioned several times, wanted me to make sure that you all know, and this is true, actually. The volunteers at our hospital are one of the most important things we have going, and Phil's one of those volunteers, and he does. He works hard. He's always helping patients along the way, and it's very important. So if you'd like to volunteer, we'd certainly like to have you.
I'm always impressed by the positive culture I've encountered with that hospital. But what sets a great hospital like the Down in Worcester apart from other hospitals?
Well, I think it starts and ends with recruiting great doctors. I mean, you got to have great providers because, the care that's being provided, if we weren't providing high quality care, everything else doesn't matter. So to me, that's a key. So we invest a lot of resources and time in recruiting doctors and APPs, advanced practice providers too, which are becoming a bigger component of our workforce. But I think that's really critical for us, and having everything works together. Us having a great city, a great county allows us to attract good candidates who see the value of living in rural Ohio. But we're close enough to the big cities to do big city things, but we have such a great town. And it's one thing I don't ever take for granted when we're promoting. When we have doctors here, if we can't get them to Worcester, we probably aren't going to win the recruit. But if we can get them to Worcester and have them have a tour of our town, we have a much higher likelihood of being able to recruit great doctors like Dr. Berry, who came from Cincinnati. It's just really remarkable. So I think that's the key. We certainly hire for service mindset and attitude if we can. I think we have such a great caring group of employees at the hospital that always impresses me. And one thing about living in the town you work, I used to work at Agron General, so I got to drive home to Wayne County at night, and I was anonymous, but I'm not anonymous in Worcester. So what our employees do as they care for my family and your family, I hear about it, and I hear nothing but the compassion that they deliver their care on.
You touched on it a little bit, but when you talk to the Bloomington recruiters, what are some of their biggest challenges in getting docs to come?
Well, a lot of it is, and we are trying to recruit, younger physicians. The attractiveness of large urban settings is the thing that we always have to overcome from a mindset. So what we're trying to reposition them is think about raising a family. When it's fun being able to be in a bigger city, but to raise a family, there's not a better place in the United States to raise a family than Wooster, Ohio. We got great schools, whether it's county schools or the city of Worcester schools. My kids did okay. My son's going to do his a match day at med school in about 30 days. So we're certainly excited. He went to Smithville High School. He went through the Community Foundation's youth program. So we have so much good that can come out of here. So our challenge, though, is to get them to think really long-term what life should look like, could look like, and having a welcoming community where people are welcome to have friends is also important when they get here. Good question. All right.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciation of your presentation and joining us today. It's our rendition of the Rotary Wheel made by the Village Network students. So thank you. Okay, next week we're going to hear about Tillmore Farm Equipment from Lydell Steiner. And with that, we stand adjourned. Thank you.